Students, in this video session, we will be learning about new topic, motion in plane. What actually does motion in plane mean? First, let me explain that. Consider a rain droplet. Consider a rain droplet. This rain droplet would fall down vertically onto ground. This is ground. If there are no additional forces apart of gravitational force acting on the rain droplet, this rain droplet would fall down directly onto the ground, and this is pure vertical motion. It is pure vertical motion, and this is along y-axis. It is purely vertical motion, and this is along y-axis. And this rain droplet fall down vertically due to gravitational force. Due to gravitational attraction, rain droplet is being dragged towards the surface of Earth. This is pure vertical motion. Likewise, you can take a vehicle which is moving on the road. This is road. It moves horizontally. This is pure horizontal motion. In case of horizontal motion, acceleration due to gravity is g is not considered. But whereas in case of vertical motion, g value it is considered and it is non-zero, and it is 9.8 meter per second square. Okay, this is acceleration due to gravity g. Now this is pure horizontal motion and it is along x-axis, right? This is along x-axis. These two parts we have already discussed in the past video lectures. About pure vertical motion we have learned, pure horizontal motion we have learned. And now we are going to learn about motion in plane. What does motion in plane actually mean? Now come back to this rain droplet. This rain droplet is under the influence of gravitational force, and it is falling onto the ground. Rain droplet is falling onto the ground. Now when this rain droplet falls down, this is under no influence of wind. It will fall down directly. But now as there is wind is, this is wind. This is wind. Wind is blowing from east to west. This is along west direction. Wind is along west. Now do this rain droplet fall down vertically? Rain droplet will not fall vertically down. Instead, rain droplet will take another path, and that path would be this. Right? This is path of rain droplet. This is path of rain droplet, right? If suppose there is no wind, rain droplet would fall down vertically. Whereas if there is wind leftward, rain droplet would change its path, and rain droplet would undergo deviation from its original path by an angle theta. Why is this deviation observed in the rain droplet? It is because of the wind, which is because of this wind, rain droplet is deviating its original path by an angle theta. Now this vector represents velocity of the wind, and this vector represents velocity of the rain droplet. See now, if you take this path of rain droplet, it is neither along x-axis nor along y-axis. That means it is neither purely horizontal motion nor purely vertical motion. It is moving. This vector is in xy plane. This vector is in xy plane. So rain droplet is moving in xy plane. That is the reason why it is, this denotes like motion of this droplet in xy plane is motion under plane. If at all a body is moving either in xy plane, this is x and this is y, in xy plane or yz plane or zx plane, such that it has both direction, both components. That means it can have x component, y component, or y component x component, y component z component, or z component x component. So if in any plane a body is moving, then in such case it is known as motion in plane. So if and only if the body travels in such a way, its motion is represented in any one of the plane of the coordinate system, it is said to be as motion in plane. Any doubt? Any doubt? Do you have any question? Yes, this is new topic, Sai. This is new topic. If a body is moving purely along x-axis or y-axis, it is called motion in straight line. If at all body is moving in xy plane or yz plane or zx plane, in such case it is represented in the plane of coordinate system. Therefore, it is known as motion in plane. And motion in plane is because of two or more forces acting on the same particle. If two or more forces are acting on the same particle, then we can that motion of the body will not be in the straight line. It will not be in the straight line, it will be in the plane. Right. In this particular topic, in motion in plane, we are going to learn these concepts. In motion in plane, we are going to learn about these concepts, and it's very important chapter. In this particular chapter, we will be learning about motion in 2 dimension first, and then relative motion in 2 dimension, and then projectile motion. And projectile motion, again we have different types: horizontal projection, projection from top of the tower, and inclined projection. We have different projections. We will be learning those individually in this particular chapter. So first we will start with motion in 2D. If a body is moving in 2 dimensions, either in xy plane or yz plane or zx plane, then how to handle with that kind of situation, we will be learning in this chapter. Let me consider this point. Let me consider this point as A. An aeroplane is starting at position A. Now, if there is no drift, if there is no wind, then aeroplane path would be straight line, and that is purely vertical. It should actually reach position B. This is position B, which is straight line starting from point A to point B. But if there is wind, the aeroplane would undergo drift, and the wind velocity is along east to west, this is velocity of the wind. Now instead of traveling in the straight line path, that is, of course this is straight line, motion is straight line, but it is not in the vertical plane, it is moving in xy plane. Aeroplane is moving now in xy plane. In such cases, because of this wind, the aeroplane would undergo drift, it would undergo slight change in its path, and that is an angle theta. It is undergoing some change in its path, and that is angle theta. This is velocity of plane with respect to wind. Velocity of the plane, it is exactly vertical. We are not changing the velocity of the plane, but velocity of the plane magnitude without any change in it, it is deviating from its actual path because of wind velocity. Therefore you can write this vector as velocity of plane with respect to wind is equal to velocity of the plane. This is in which direction? Like, how do you write this vector? The vector can be written as, like, let me consider it is, this point is C. This point I am considering it as C. Okay. Now you can write down that vector AC bar. I'll take AC bar is equal to, AC bar is this vector. AC bar, how do you represent it? With AB bar plus BC bar. AC bar can be represented as AB bar plus BC bar. That means in order to get velocity of the plane with wind, you need to sum up the vectors velocity of the plane and velocity of the wind. So velocity of the plane with respect to wind is equal to AB. AB is represented with velocity of the plane, that is VP bar. It is in which direction? J, y axis, and wind is in which direction? Leftward. Therefore it is minus velocity of the wind, and it is I cap. Why I am taking I cap? Because it is traveling from east to west. East to west is represented with negative x-axis. Therefore I am taking here minus I. Now velocity of the wind, velocity of the plane due to wind, it is VPW. It can be written as VP J cap minus VW I cap. So simply it is just AC is the resultant vector of AB and BC. Therefore a vector which is in the plane can be represented with sum or difference of two vectors which are purely either horizontal and vertical. So therefore whenever you want to find out the resultant velocity in the plane, you will be using parallelogram law of vectors, and we can find out the resultant velocity of that given vector. So just like how I have done, AC is the resultant vector. In order to get AC resultant vector, what you will do? You will be adding vector AB and BC, so that you will be getting the resultant vector AC, which is velocity of the plane with respect to wind. The velocity of the plane with respect to wind is VP J cap, because plane is moving purely vertically up along y-axis, and wind is purely negative x-axis. It is VW, and that is I cap. Let me take one more example. This is a stone. Instead of raindrop, you can take any other body. Let me consider this is a stone. This stone is falling vertically down, right? Now velocity of the stone, if there is no wind, in such case it would fall vertically down, right? Therefore I can simply write velocity of stone is equal to, as it is purely vertical down, it is Vs, and this is J cap without wind. See, you can take it as Vs J cap. the stone velocity is not changing. The stone velocity, it is actually meant to fall down. So it may be wind or it may not be wind. There may be wind or there may not be wind. Stone velocity individually, its magnitude or individually its direction does not change. But what is happening here? Because of external wind, if there is wind now influencing, if there is wind in this direction, this is velocity of the wind, and it is in which direction? From east to west. Therefore you need to represent it with minus I. So how do you write velocity of the wind? Velocity of the wind is equal to VW, and this is minus I cap, right? Individually I am writing two different vectors. One represents velocity of the wind and the other one represents velocity of the stone. If there is no wind, stone would fall vertically downward. But what is happening now? As there is wind here, wind is influencing path of the stone. Remember that wind is only influencing path of the stone, but not velocity of the stone. So magnitude of the stone velocity would remain same, but its path would undergo change. Therefore, it would take a path in such a way. This is the resultant path of the stone. Path of the stone will be in this direction. I will represent it with velocity of stone due to wind. I'll write it as VSW. VSW is representing the resultant velocity of the stone because there is wind. Now I can write this VW vector downward. Here I will be writing this VW. This forms one triangle, right? It is A, it is B, and this is C, right? Now clearly I can write VSW. We have three velocities now. One is purely velocity of the stone. Other one is purely velocity of the wind. Now this is VSW. It is velocity of the stone with respect to wind. This is, read it as velocity of stone with respect to wind. So because there is wind, velocity of the stone is, its path is undergoing change, its direction is being influenced. I can write VSW as, VSW is nothing but AC vector, is it not? VSW is equal to AC bar. How do you write AC bar? AC bar is equal to AB bar plus BC bar. Understand concept clearly. AC bar is equal to AB bar plus BC bar. But what is AB bar? AB bar can be represented with velocity of the stone, that is Vs J cap. What is BC bar? BC bar is represented with velocity of wind, that is Vw minus I cap. So VSW can be simply written as Vs J cap minus of Vw I cap. This is how you will be representing velocity of the vector, velocity of that particular stone with respect to wind, and that is in the plane. Whenever you are dealing with a vector which is in plane, it will have two components, one along x-axis and the other one along y-axis. See, this represents component along x-axis. This is component along x-axis. And the other one, this is representing component along y-axis. So whenever you are dealing with velocity of the vector which is in plane, it will have both components, x component and as well as y component. Yeah, students, here AB is a vector which is in downward direction, like it is traveling, it is directed along minus y-axis. That's the reason why here you need to take one minus J cap. This is minus j cap. So velocity of the stone, you can represent it with minus Vs j cap. And here also you will be getting minus Vs j cap. That's my mistake. Simple example. Let me show you one more example. This is raindrop. Why always I am taking raindrop mean? This is general example, like everyone is able to experience rain droplet. That's the reason why I am taking it always rain droplet. So rain droplet is very good example for motion in plane. If there is no wind, rain droplet would fall down vertically, and I will be writing it as VR. This is vertically down minus j cap. If at all there is wind, right side, this is velocity of the wind and it is I cap. Now resultant of these two vectors, because there is wind, the actual droplet, rain droplet would not take vertical path. It will be influenced by wind. Therefore, it would slightly deviate from its vertical path and it would undergo slight deviation along the direction of velocity of the wind. Therefore, you will be getting the resultant vector like this. Okay. Now, this vector is written as velocity of rain droplet with respect to wind. Velocity of rain droplet with respect to wind. So velocity of rain with respect to wind now is the resultant vector of these two, right? Resultant of these two vectors is VRW. Now how do you write VRW? VRW can be simply written as sum of these two vectors. So VRW is equal to minus VR j cap plus VW I cap. Why I am taking here positive I cap? Because it is traveling along positive x-axis. That's the reason why you are taking positive. And the angle of deviation here is theta. And remember, the angle of deviation of the vector depends on the magnitude of wind velocity. Suppose if magnitude of this wind is greater, then the deviation would be greater. For example, if I take wind velocity is equal to 2 meter per second, then theta would be equal to 30 degrees. For simple, I am considering 30 degrees. Suppose if you are increasing wind velocity will be increased to 4 meter per second, then the angle would undergo change. It would become 60 degrees by default. Similarly, wind velocity is increased to 6 meter per second. Then theta would be increased by some other value. It can become 90 degrees. So that means if the wind velocity is increasing going on, the angle would undergo change, but that deviation would not be that much. Okay, this is for your simple understanding. I have took these values, but actual values may undergo change. So what I mean to tell you by taking this example is, if the magnitude of wind is increasing, the direction of this vector would undergo change, right? The direction would undergo change like this. The direction would undergo change like this. The direction would undergo change like this. That depends upon how much angle you are considering with. Theta will be going on increase. This is theta 1. This is theta 1. Similarly, this is theta 2. This is theta 3. Why there is increase in the angle? It depends upon the magnitude of wind velocity. If magnitude of wind velocity goes on increases, then the angle of deviation of the resultant vector also goes on increases. Now at any particular instant, if you want to find out this angle, I can take tan theta, which is opposite vector divided by adjacent vector. Opposite vector, it is wind, therefore it is VW magnitude divided by adjacent vector, it is VR. I'll simply write it as VR magnitude. Therefore, theta is equal to tan inverse of velocity of the wind divided by velocity of rain. This gives you magnitude of the angle made by the resultant vector with vertical. This is with the vertical. Okay. Likewise, if the wind is blowing from west to east, this is the example. If it is east to west, what would happen? The same vector would undergo deviation like this. Same vector would be deviated in this direction. If it is wind velocity changing from east to west. Clear? Therefore, the vector which is in the plane, its magnitude along x-axis and y-axis purely depends on the vectors which are along x-axis and y-axis. If the magnitude of the vector which is traveling along x-axis is greater, then it would have more length along x-axis than that of y-axis. So that is what you need to understand. The angle of deviation of the vector depends purely on individual velocities of rain droplet and as well as wind. One more best example of motion in two dimension or motion in plane is circular motion. Circular motion is one more example of body moving in plane. So when we deal with circular motion, like for example, generally motion in plane, this is a circle, a body which is moving in the circular path, and this is radius of the circle. It is radius of the circle. This is center O, and let me consider this point as A. Let me consider this point as B. Now, if at all a particle is starting from position A and it is going to position B, observe carefully, listen carefully. I am considering one particle which is starting at A and it is going towards B. When the body is moving from A to B, its initial velocity Vi, velocity at this position A, it is directed vertically upward, right? This is Vi. Vertically it is upward. Now coming to B, coming to position B, at this point velocity is directed leftward. Is it not? You can clearly understand that. At this point A, this is velocity vector which is vertically up. Now coming to position B, at this instant, if you want to find out the direction of the particle, you will simply draw one tangent to that point. So I am drawing one tangent, and that tangent is purely horizontal and it is along negative x-axis, and this is V final. Okay. Now initial velocity, it is in which direction? It is traveling along positive. It is along north. Therefore, you can take it as plus j cap. Because it is along north and it is positive y-axis, so plus j I am writing it as. Final velocity, it is directed in which direction? Along negative x-axis. So I will simply write it as minus I cap. Okay. So I will be writing now representing the initial and final velocities. V initial is equal to magnitude of this particle velocity is V, and that is in which direction? Vj. This is initial. What is final velocity? Magnitude may be same, but its direction is undergoing change. Therefore, you should write it as minus V I cap. Magnitude of the vector may be same, but directions are different here. In such case, you can calculate delta V, which is change in velocity. Remember that even though magnitude of V initial is equal to magnitude of V final, that is the same. Initial and final magnitudes may be same, but directions are not same. They are different. Initially, it is along positive y-axis. Finally, it is along negative x-axis. Therefore, you are dealing with change in velocity vector. So whenever you want to find out change in velocity vector, I'll write it as delta V bar is equal to V final vector minus V initial vector. What is V final vector? Minus V I cap. And what about initial vector? Initial vector, it is Vj, that is minus Vj cap. Okay, this is delta V, which is representing change in the direction. So the resultant of these two, like v minus I and v minus j, that is change in the velocity. So change in velocity direction is in which quadrant? It will be in this quadrant where I, negative x-axis and negative y-axis. It will be in fourth quadrant. Remember that. Minus I వచ్చింది కదా ఇక్కడ. Minus I అంటే ఏంటిది? Negative x-axis. Minus j వచ్చింది అంటే అది negative y-axis. సో ఈ రిజల్టెంట్ వెక్టార్ ఏ డైరెక్షన్ లో ఉంటుంది అన్నట్టు? ఇది ఫోర్త్ క్వాడ్రంట్ లో ఉంటుంది. Okay, therefore the resultant of these two vectors you can mark it in this path. This is delta v, change in the velocity vector when the particle is moving in the circular path. Okay, and if you want to find out the magnitude, delta v magnitude is equal to under root, because this is vector, I will be using parallelogram law. It is vf whole square plus vi whole square minus of 2 times vf vi into cos theta. However, theta will be equal to 90 degrees in this case, because v final and v initial both are perpendicular. You can just substitute that cos 90 here. Cos 90 will be 0. Final answer will be delta v equal to under root vf square plus vi square. So this is one more example of motion in plane, and it is purely circular motion. Circular motion is also one of the best example for motion in plane, because at any instant, if you consider velocity of the particle, it will be having two components, x component and y component. You can check it up here. See, if I draw velocity vector at this position, that will be in which direction? Like this. It is having x component and y component. If you draw velocity at this point, it will be having x component and y component. If I draw velocity vector here, it will be having x component and y component. So this is one of the best example of motion in plane. I'm sorry students, the resultant vector here, this is in third quadrant, not fourth. I'm sorry. That's right, third quadrant.